Hey guys, Jesse with Hunt Training. Today I'm talking about my unpopular opinion on gun control and gonna give you a little bit of history and background on why it just is not successful. Right now on Hunt. Hey guys, what is going on? Jesse with Hunt Training. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day because I've been having a great day so far. You know, we've been having a lot of issues lately, but before I talk about that, let's talk about I am on Patreon, Twitter, and Instagram. Links are going to be in the description. Also, there's going to be a few Amazon links in the description. If you use those Amazon links and you buy something off there, a little bit of that money comes back to the channel and helps support. I will drop a link for the Pack 2 timer that I just got. Going to do a lot of cool things with the good old shot timer. But anyway, guys, what are we here to talk about? Well, it's really simple. Gun laws don't stop gun crime. I'm probably going to put that up a lot with some sound effects and all that cool stuff. Gun laws don't stop gun crime. And this video is kind of spurred by Brandon Herrera, the AK guy. Okay, before I go any farther, if you are on the left, if you're anti-gun, if you're any sort of those things, I want you to stick around because this video has a lot of information for you. You're the target here. Like, I'm trying to give you contextual, historical information of why gun control does not work and always leads to tyranny. So I have an example of that that's pretty blatantly obvious. So anyway, this video is kind of spurred by Brandon Herrera, and this is kind of going to be the unpopular part, right? He was saying that you're lucky that they're using guns, and which, you know, like he said, you have to point at a target and you have to take that target and then move to the next target. Not a blanket way like a bomb, like Timothy McVeigh, Oklahoma City, any other number of bombings or any other thing, a truck in France, like that happened a few years ago. So there's that. And that's kind of where this video comes from. I want to add to that and say that you're also lucky that people using guns are untrained, generally. Most of the time they just don't really have a high level competency with that firearm, and so they're not well versed in how it runs and how it uses, and they just don't do as much damage as they possibly could, because they could do a lot, and I mean a lot of damage. So gun control is coming down, you know, the pipeline. Everybody's like, take the guns away, ban assault weapons, da 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 da. And I'm here to tell you that let's take a trip back about 80 years now. In Austria, in 1938, Hitler, most people think that Hitler stormed into Austria and took it over. Absolutely not correct. Austria was in a bad recession. They had terrible employment and all that stuff. And from the news sources, they got that Germany was doing awesome and doing great. And all sorts of good things were going on in Germany. So the people of Austria petitioned the government to have a vote. And they voted Hitler in at a 98% of the people voted for Hitler. So he became the new government. So they gained a national socialist government. And in doing so, you know, it started out fine. Like everybody, like the economy was going, they had the jobs and all that stuff. And then the government started easing in. Hey, the only way for us to keep track of murderers is to have the serial numbers of your guns. So if you could bring those down to the police station and we can track those for you, then we can keep track of the murderers and we can find them and hunt them down. So that'll happen. The people of Austria brought their guns in, they registered them, basically the gun registration. They also had to have a national ID card. So anywhere you went, like if you got on a bus, you got in a car, got in a taxi, you had to have a national ID card to go anywhere. So, you know, those fancy IDs we have to have now, there's that part. But then they had to register their firearms. Okay, that's the first kind of part 1 and 2. The next part of that is the police came back a little while later and said, hey, you know, it would just be best and if we could just take all the guns away, and that way no more of these crimes would happen. And they already knew who had the guns, so by way of a little bit of force and responsible citizens turning over their guns, because that is the law, they had gun control. And also at this time, Hitler in Germany is implementing gun control, like Jews can't have guns or knives or clubs or any of that stuff. So there's gun control laws in Germany. They've taken all the guns away from the Austrians. And then at about 5 years later, 1943, they have a full-on dictatorship, and they can't fight for themselves because they don't have their weapons. If you read anything about this, you can discover that these facts are absolutely true. And modern examples of this would be in Venezuela. Venezuela has gun control. Nobody can legally own a firearm. Their government is actively killing its own people and all sorts of things like that. In China, they are begging to have a Second Amendment right. They are begging for democracy. And it's happening right now. This is something that's going on right now. And it's not talked about in the media because it's unpopular and it doesn't help the narrative that the media likes to push. The young Chinese people are demanding democracy, demanding a Second Amendment right, and they will tell you, do not let go of that right no matter what. So there's those examples. And if those examples don't spur you in the right direction, like that should be plenty. But if not, here's a few more. So murders in America, there is something in the neighborhood of 12 to 15,000 a year. There's 40,000 gun deaths a year. A majority of those are suicides. And I'll solve the suicide problem right now. Suicide is not really that big of a deal because we are not even in the top whatever in suicide. And so yes, every suicide is a problem. I agree. Nobody should be committing suicide. But our percentage of suicide really isn't that high compared to our population, compared to the rest of the world. All rifles in America, every rifle, not what the left or liberals or anti-gun so-called assault weapons, which which are massively banned by the United States, are semi-automatic rifles, which have been used lately. But all rifles in the United States killed 403 people last year, total. That's it. 467 people were killed by hammers and clubs and bats last year. So that's all rifles. Assault rifles are less than half of that 403 number. And you got 467 by baseball bats and clubs. So, I mean, it's an absolute minuscule number. It's only a feel-good policy. You will not accomplish anything because gun laws don't stop gun crime. And we see that every day. If you look at the gun death rate, okay, so we have El Paso, we have Dayton, we have that number of people that were killed. If you look at Chicago at the same amount of time, that many people get killed every 24 hours in Chicago. All the time, people in Chicago are dying because of gun deaths. And a mass majority of those are handguns, which is a mass majority of the homicides in this country. And a lot of them are also gang-related, and they're criminals. No matter what you do, gun laws don't solve gun crime. It just doesn't happen. It is not possible to solve gun crime with gun laws. Why? Because they are criminals and they break the law. 100%. It is illegal to kill people. It is illegal to buy a gun from somebody else, called a straw purchase, which happens a lot in Illinois, where people go buy guns for people and give them to other people. It is illegal for a felon to possess a weapon. It is illegal in a lot of places to carry a gun, which gun-free zones are also a death trap, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But gun laws don't stop gun crime. It will not work. People will always find a way, and evil will always find a way to end human life. If it's not a gun, it's a bomb. If it's not a bomb, it's a truck. If it's not a truck, it's poisoning a water system. I mean, this is just really one tool that killers and evil people can use to do the job that they want to do. So how do we stop it? First off, gun-free zones are the target of mass shooters somewhere between 93 and 95, and some studies say even up to 98% of the time. They are absolute mass shooting magnets. You and me need to vote to get rid of gun-free zones because it is a giant sticker saying, hey, there's nobody armed here. You can come in here and do as you will and expect not to be messed with. It's sad that we as Americans do not protect our children at schools with guns from evil people. It's terrible. It does not work. Also, more people in the United States need to be responsible. You are responsible for your own safety, 100%. You guys are responsible for your own safety. Police usually show up in time to take reports and put bodies in body bags. Most of the time the police aren't there to take care of this. You are responsible for your own safety. I don't know why the United States and Americans have become so complacent with giving up their own safety, or with leaving their safety up to the government, because the government hasn't failed us before, have they? And it's just terrible. Another thing, if you have a concealed weapons permit, if you're legal to carry, carry always. Always carry your gun. Train with it, get really good with it, and carry with it always. The concealed carry industry competence level needs to raise ecstatically. So, one final thing. Chuck Schumer trying to ban body armor, that is the most passive way you can protect yourself is body armor. And these mass shooters are people that are going to commit grave acts of evil. It's not going to stop them, because laws don't stop criminals, just like gun laws don't stop gun crime. Anyway, guys, I know that was a huge spiel, but here's what you need to know. Carry always, and be more responsible for your own protection. And gun laws continue to prove that they don't solve anything, because there's 20,000 of them on the books, and we still have this problem. Guys, I'm Jesse with Hunt Training. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell down below. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. Hit them Amazon links down below to help support this channel. And come back with me this week, because I'm starting a pistol build that's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Anyway, guys, I'm Jesse, and we'll see you next time.